Hello and welcome to my Higan Eruthyll guide. Higan Eruthyll is a brand new 3D real-time strategy game that just got released, and today I'll be showing you all the basics of the game to help you get started and maximize your progress as a beginner. But first, a quick word from today's video sponsor, Bluestacks. Bluestacks is the #1 Android emulator that lets you run your favorite mobile games on PC. Using Bluestacks, you can enjoy all of your favorite mobile games on a bigger screen with better performance, so it's the perfect way to take your gaming experience to the next level. It comes with fully customizable controls for any game that you play, a multi-instance feature that will come in handy if you decide to reroll accounts, and they also have a built-in eco mode that will help you optimize your computer's resource utilization. I will be playing Higan Eruthyll using Bluestacks, so if you like what you see, make sure you download the game using my link in the description below. Now back to the video. To start things off, let's talk about the characters. Each character has a specific role, and the character roles are essentially divided according to their optimal distance or position in your team formation. First, you have your frontline characters, which can either be a hoplite or a guardian unit. They are generally the ones that you put in front of your team's formation because they specialize in taking damage for your team and dealing damage close to the enemy. You also have your DPS units in the form of assassins, rangers, and casters. These characters will be your main damage dealers, so you would want them to be behind your frontline, especially because they are on the squishier side compared to the other units. And then you have your support characters, or so-called Adjutrix. They are the ones that heal and apply different status effects on both your allies and enemies. They need to stay alive the longest, so you would want to place them at the very back of the team formation. It's also important to know that each class will give your whole team a specific bonus. For example, a hoplite will give your team 5% more physical damage, and a caster will give your team 5% more energy recharge. On top of the different classes, each character also has their specific element, and this is a very important factor to consider when building your teams. Each character can have one of the 5 elements in the game: Pyro, Ice, Umbra, Lumino, and Animo. A character will deal more damage to an enemy if they counter its element. So a Pyro unit will be effective against Animo enemies, Animo is effective against Ice, Ice effective against Pyro, and Umbra against Lumino is basically neutral against each other. So pretty basic stuff. You will get a 30% damage increase against elements that you counter. But on the other hand, your damage will be decreased by 30% if your element is countered by the element that the enemy has. Additionally, there is also a mechanic called synergies. If you are using multiple characters of the same element, you will basically get different bonuses depending on which element and how many characters with that element are in your team. Next up, let's take a closer look at the characters. For this example, we will be taking a look at Media. She is a really good character and you can actually get her for free if you start playing now. So definitely check out my link in the description below so you don't miss out on this powerful character. With that being said, each character will have different stats depending on the various skills and passives that they have, and you can see which ones they have over on this page. You also have the character level and ascension level that can start off at 3 stars at max. And then you can get more stars when you end up getting more copies of the same character. On the topic of levels, you have around 2 weeks to mess around with different characters to see which ones you really like and which ones work best. Because at this time, they will actually let you refund all of the leveling materials that you spent however many times that you want. So you can try out different characters and different builds without worrying about wasting resources. Next up, each character also has different abilities ranging from a basic attack, a passive skill, an ultimate skill, and one active skill that you can later switch out to a different one after you ascend the character to level 30. You will be able to upgrade all of their abilities using different farmable materials, but this might take you some time because Higan Eruthyll actually has an energy system. Moving on, you also have the Affinity System, which is very similar to the Friendship or Affection system in other games. You can get different bonuses as you get more levels, as well as different character stories, voice lines, and more information about the character's lore. Now let's talk about the combat in this game. At the very beginning of the fight, you can set your team formation and you can add up to 4 characters max. We briefly talked about this in the character classes section, but as a refresher, you would generally want your tanky melee units in front and the rest of your ranged DPS and supports will be at the back. As you place your characters on the field, you will be able to see a small indicator letting you know where the character is going or attacking. So your characters will attack a specific enemy depending on where you position them. Additionally, in some stages, you will be able to see some red tiles, which means that you would want to take your units out of that area because the enemy will attack that area at the beginning of the fight. You will also be able to see some tiles with different bonuses, so make sure that you make use of that. Now once you initiate the fight, your characters will automatically use their normal attacks. And as the fight goes on, you will start to gain energy that you can then use to activate any of the available skills. And the skills will rotate out, sort of like what you would normally see in a turn-based card game. You can tap and hold to aim the skill however you want, and most abilities are aimed towards your enemy. It can either be a single target skill or something with a bigger AoE. And then you also have other abilities that need to be aimed at your other units, just like most of the healing abilities. Also take note that a lot of the AoE skills in the game are better used manually instead of auto, because you will most likely do a better job at hitting more enemies compared to the AI. As you are fighting the enemies and using your abilities, you will see that your ultimate is slowly charging up. You can expect to use the character's ultimate once or twice during a fight, so you will be able to see their ultimate skill animation as well as the big numbers that come with it. After you finish the tutorial, or around that point, you will be able to unlock the auto feature. It's very useful for stages where you just end up farming resources and trying to spend all of your energy. But if you are doing stages in the adventure, I recommend that you play manually, especially if you are trying to min-max your progress. As you play the tutorial and progress to the early chapters, they will introduce a bunch of different enemy mechanics, so make sure that you take your time to get familiar with those, because I do think that they did a great job at explaining it. Overall, this is just a surface level introduction to Higan and Eruthyll to help you decide if this is the game for you. Let me know if you want me to make a video going in depth about the different mechanics and more advanced tips for progressing in the game. I'll definitely keep playing this game, and if you also want to try this out, or maybe you want to play it on a bigger screen like your PC, feel free to check out my link in the description below. With that being said, that's about everything I have for this video. As always, don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.